Well, first off, Alabama needs to change their AOC. That's one problem. And then there's a lot of other problems in Alabama, but this story's pretty bad. This one's pretty crazy. It just popped up, um, I guess yesterday. Bunker of Hell. They paid to rape small children in an underground enclosed enclosure for more than a year. Three Alabama men were indicted on charges related to operating a child sexual abuse ring for more than a year. Why are all your men into kids? Look at these guys. They look extra special though too. I don't know what the hell's going on here, but okay, so three Alabama men have been arrested for allegedly operating what local authorities describe as an apparent horrific child sexual abuse ring out of an underground bunker near the home in Brent, Alabama. Okay, William Chase McElroy, Dalton Terrell, and Andres Velasquez I don't even know how to say that. Have all been arrested and charged in connection with child sex abuse, case. Okay, so they were investigating back in February. The Bibb County Sheriff Office and a social media post along that the men's arrest on Saturday. Um, so they got charged with rape, sodomy, human trafficking, and 6 counts of human trafficking with this other one. Um, so they're going on, it will not be tolerated. Okay, and this is an ongoing case. Okay, so they said details have emerged from the local report. Okay, AL.com. Okay, reported over the weekend that 3 men carried out their child sex abuse operation for more than a year, between January 2024 and April 2025. The men alleged victims range from 3 to 10 years old. And I'm just thinking, where are they getting 3 to 10? Is this their family member? Like, what? Who's giving them kids? I have no idea what the hell's going on here, but McElroy and Terrell allegedly admitted to sexually abusing the children according to the site and is accused of nude images of the victims to other suspects before also selling the children themselves. According to AL, authorities haven't yet determined how these 3 men knew each other, but noted they all live in trailers within a mile of one another. Oh, God. Okay. The children were allegedly drugged and then brought to the bunker, which also described the bunker as a local storm shelter. Okay. Robert Turner Jr. said in a statement that there are more anticipated arrests to follow, so they think there's more people. Beyond the 3 men already indicted. Wow, what the hell? This case represents one of the most troubling and complex investigations our office has undertaken. These allegations are sadistic and sickening. Well, you need to answer me this. How do all these guys, they're all in a room together and they're all a hot mess? Why is it always these men? And why is there so many in this area, right? You got to look at a lot of things here because this isn't like a choice. Like, you don't just randomly go one day, hey, I want to get some kids and this sounds like a great idea. Like, there's something terribly wrong in your upbringing, and you're not talking about just one person. You're talking about many, many people, many men here. And another troubling portion here is, how are people just letting their kids run around and not know where they are between ages 3 to 10? That's another addition with the parents here in this complex, whatever's going on here. I'm assuming because the way they're explaining it, it has something to do with everybody's in trailers and maybe all the kids are out playing and then nobody's watching or something. Something weird here. The assistant district attorney said it's just unimaginable that someone could do this to a child. Unimaginable that like tons of men, we're not talking just one weirdo. Tons of men can do this to a bunch of children. I mean, you're doing something terribly wrong in life, dudes, moms. You know what I mean? These sons are somebody's, they're somebody's kids and somebody had them. So children are defenseless and they depend on adults to take care of them and protect them. Well, what's your definition of a child? Because in our state, under 18 fits that, and so we needed parental guidance because we're still not an adult yet, and they need to make those decisions for us, right? So we can't do legal paperwork, we can't do nothing, right? So we're defenseless, and then we get left with adult men. But when you bring up these topics and you start talking about us as children under our laws here, all of a sudden it turns into, no, you're an adult, you're old enough. Well, that's not what the laws say. But unfortunately, that's why we're really trying to tackle that AOC, because in Alabama, I do believe it's at 16. And 16 is still a child. 16 still cannot. Do you think you could defend yourself against these guys? They're going to knock us out. I mean, you can't know what they're going to do. Like, there's so many things, like they're much more matured in, life and knowing how to get drugs and get drinks and things like that, because they're of age where a child is not. And so they would be dependent on a child, on an adult to get alcohol or something, which they should never do. But and then when adults do these types of things to them, it's just really horrific. Okay, yes. But how did this happen? Because you're looking at a lot of failures here. I mean, there is a lot of failures in it, and the way that people are parenting. And just as you're listening to the story right now, right? If you go back, we don't know what happened to these dudes right here, because something hot mess, something. You could go back into their childhood in a trailer park, and what if these are the same little kids that were running around and some other adult did those things to them? So to them, this is some normal behaviors. So somebody wasn't watching them. They seem like they did have neglectful parents. So then these kids that are running around where they're missing, obviously have some neglectful parents because they're getting drugged, and it went for years. So they didn't notice their kids are drugged out. You know what I mean? There's a lot of detailed questions in this one. But neighbors and other community members have since taken to social media to call for justice. A neighbor who lived near one of the suspects said that, she believes the men deserve way worse than prison in her mind. I couldn't imagine the amount of pain the children went through and the amount of pain that they should go through. I don't think there's a way to even do it. That's what you're missing in the story, though. What the hell with these guys, right? You got 3, and there might be more. I could literally see a dozen in this thing. And they all gang up, they get in their gangs, and they go target people. And this is absolutely promoted by America. It is absolutely promoted. And you want to sit there and you get mad at it, but this is the fruit of your, promotion. So I'm just like, there's so many problems in this. The children were not protected by their own parents here, because as you said, they are reliant on adults. So obviously there's no adult supervision. That is part of child neglect. So, yes, they do have a responsibility. You're not supposed to be dumping your kids off with the random adults. You're not supposed to be just letting them run outside and not paying attention to where they are. You have somebody around watching, right? Like some person. And God forbid that they had these guys as babysitters. I don't think that was going on, but I don't know if they're boyfriends. This is what we don't know. Like, I don't know if they're boyfriends of women that have the kids there, or there's an area where the kids are playing and they're luring them into this trap, and then the parents don't even notice that they're gone for. You have to be gone for a little while for this to happen. That's what I'm saying. I go, well, how's this? I mean, there should have been something to hinder this conduct, right? But then by the time they get the kid back, they're saying they drugged him. if your 3 to 10-year-old is acting a little weird, I mean, you wouldn't notice this. I would think you would. But you're talking about a year, they didn't catch it. So I would say that the parents also in this case are negligent for not watching their kids. Um, and how old are these guys again? They are 21 drinking age, 21 drinking age, and 29. Oh, now you have an older 30-year-old. We love this one because in that other story, we're not even talking about that dude again, but it keeps coming up. So in the Dominic story, there's all these like younger guys, right? These younger other bad kids and everything. And there's this one older dictator in this, thing, like the main guilty party on this one thing. And he's like 30 years old. Now, by 30, the thing that's interesting about that, because I think they even recognize this, that by 30, your brain is completely or almost complete, like you're completely developed, like everything about you. That's usually about the age where you come out and go, oh my God, I got touched, that thing. And then, or that's when people get really depressed. They used to have that thing about what was the number that, I don't know. But anyway, at this time, people get really depressed and some bad thing happens. So this is kind of a coming, like at this age, you literally know everything going on. Okay. You're coming to it all together. And it sometimes does not come together good because, everything was really bad prior. It's like you come to head with it, and this is a really rough area for some people. So you have this adult. That's what I'm trying to say. So you have this like major adult in this thing. So maybe he's the ringleader of that because that's somebody who could sit there and go, you know what, we should drug him out. We should why don't we come up with doing this thing, like that. And then you have these 21-year-olds who are just barely of age to be able to drink. This is when they're a bunch of jerks, like I think everybody can remember this time period. But so like they're still not quite mature at 21, but they're way more mature than 18 or 17. But again, they're capable of going to the store and buying things that a teen cannot, and definitely not a 10 or 3-year-old. But these are guys that I would never have around children. They're just generally, I would not. I would not have a 21-year-old. And as we're going through the other story with the Boys and Girls Club thingy, yeah, they were leaving them with these guys that were just of age to start, pounding out the drinks. And almost all these guys back then were doing that. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I would want some dude that's just, he's not even matured yet. And he's going to go watching my kid and being like some type of mentor. Yeah, so like I said, they don't really lay it out. Like, is he the brother or somebody, the boyfriend of somebody? Are they just dudes that have their own trailers and they're just hanging out together and then they just lured kids into this trap, or are they related? Any of that. They don't let us know that. So, yeah, so also because by 21 and by 20, oh, definitely by 29, like they would have these problems already. They would already have these problems. Like they're already in your face that they have these problems. These are the people, I was just like going off on this Justine Bateman thing. Oh my God. Okay, she would fit in this category of having a son like this, and I'll tell you why. And it really pissed me off. And I was like, I don't even know. It was weird because, okay, here's what happened. Because some people may not understand the Bateman thing. So my whole music thing was named after Daddy, something that his dad did, Jason Bateman. And I started getting heavily targeted. Okay, so there was this whole backstory, and I was saying some weird thing about family ties because one of the girls, she had a band, and then one of the guys in her band was trying to get into my band and some weird stuff, right? So anyway, and then I get an award for using Daddy Bateman's, thing. I got a music award thingy out here for that. And, I didn't come up with the name, but it was like, there was no band with that thing. So, Yeah, so we just joked about it. I never met him. I don't know anything about him. And in fact, I didn't even know who he was when I took that. And then later I find out all that stuff and I go, oh, there's Jason Bateman. And I used to bring him up all the time because just because of that correlation, but I didn't know anything in the background about these people. So they were born in Utah, Mormonville, and then some of their family was part of the Mormon culty thingy over there. And no, I did not know that, but it makes sense. Now it's making sense. And then they go making slasher movie. Yeah, and then they're like total snots. Okay, so one of the actors, he seemed like a really nice guy. Now, I don't know if he did anything to egg anything on, because they say sometimes these really nice guys, like they do things and they don't. But he was doing a clip, and he said, you know who the bully was? I don't normally talk shit about people, you know what I mean? But this dude kept like throwing shit at me and calling me a has-been as a kid. And I'm like, that's weird. Who's that? I didn't know who they were going to say. It was left field to me because I didn't hear anything about him. I thought everybody really liked that guy. I thought they were saying he's really nice, he's really great, and technically when I went back into it, I saw that it was fans saying that because they love him in movies. But when I went back into it, there were some people pointing it out. They're all, you know what? I used to think he was this really nice guy up until I saw this thing. And I just sit and watch it because I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I never seen this before. And I was like, oh, yeah, he's a total dick. Like, he's, yeah, really bad. And I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, we know how this comes out a little bit, why they come out bullies, like these little socio bullies. And we're not talking about, picking, you know what I mean? Like poking and prodding and joking around, like little prankster type of thing. This dude, the way he explained him, I was listening to him. I was trying to get real detailed. He's like, I was thinking he was just joking around with me. And you would know because me and my friends used to F around with each other. And yeah, sometimes it probably did cross the line. But he's like, no. And then he would chronically throw trash at him. I go, oh, okay, those are the kids that I had to deal with at school that were really bad, the dudes. And I go, yeah, they were big time bullies. That's the line of a bully. Okay, so because the bully in the case, like I don't feel like I overpower my friends. Okay, we're pretty much equal. But what he's bullying him about, and this is why it was so important to you to understand the correct term of bullying. So bullying is about somebody that feels that they're in a position of power, or that they feel that they overpower you. Like you're in a group of like LGBTQ, right? So some straight dude that's a Christian that everybody totally loves. Okay, so then there are a smaller group of people that have less power. So they go and they will exert their power over you and keep, going at you and getting off on harming you, right? So what he was saying, he's like, we're all fellow actors, right? So technically, wouldn't you think that they're all in the same boat? Yeah. However, in his mind, he goes, I guess he was on a show. I don't know what was going on here. But then he wasn't working and he was working. Wasn't he on Little House on the Prairie or something? The victim. And so anyway, he said that. He came up to him and said, how are you doing? Has been. Like he has no job now. But he has a job. Jason has a job. So that's kind of a form of that. That's like his position of power. Look what I got. Look at all the money I got. You're poor. Okay, do you see that? That's actually real bullying, like that. That's the true form and the true definition of bullying. Other things are just being mean and critical and you know what I mean. But this is the true form of bullying because he's like, has been, like doing this. And then he said he took garbage and threw it at him. And I was thinking about that. I was like really analyzing this because I was like, wait a minute. You know what that means? It means that dad is a really bad abuser. And then it tailed off. I go, okay, if this is true, how's the daughter? The daughter. Oh, Justine. Oh. And it like clicked with me because I was like, every time I hear her. Okay, so sometimes she says some smart things. I'm trying to be nice, you guys. But sometimes she says some really self-centered, rich, entitled brat, shitty ass crap. And it came together. Like, I just never, you know what I mean? It's not something you're like sitting there thinking about and analyzing them and going, how's their, their home life? Because they're not on a criminal case or anything like that. So you're not like really going there. But sometimes, no, like sometimes, like she's so insufferable. Like she'll say this crap. So yesterday, just so you guys know, it's just not left field and I'm just randomly going off and going off. But it's like, yeah, there was a tie because of the music thing. So I was like, yeah, wait a minute. I don't even want to use that thing again because I feel so bad. Like, well, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of bad connected to that band right there. And it's like, this is like the addition. It's like, oh no, I'm not a bully and I don't even want to promote any family that's this shitty. You know what I mean? That's another thing. But I went to go search just to remind myself, like, what is it that pisses me off about her? Because I was trying to figure out the dialogue. Like, she'll say some stuff and it's just like, oh God. Yeah. So then I go look and then she starts saying, I mean, whatever with her political stance, right? So apparently she's like this total funny freak of like, I don't like the Dems, and I'm pissed off at the Dems too, but this is like that level, the other level of stuff, okay? So she's like, yeah, the Michi thing goes too far. Okay. She started going in with Megan Keller because she's a hot mess. Megan is just, she needs therapy. So anyway, of course they're going together, talk about how terrible women are, because they don't let men touch them and they should be okay with it. And they're just making things that are normal totally bad. And then we're just canceling them out because we just say they said a bad thing. That's not what's going on though. But they're having this conversation. And then she's like, these women are just saying they're a part of something, just saying it to be a part of something, a group. Yeah, she started saying this kind of crap. And I was like, oh, bully. She's the bully. She's trying to bully sexual assault victims. That too is a form of bullying. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe it's just because the way women view women doing it versus where men are really violent. So throwing stuff is telling you daddy probably knocked the shit out of him all the time. And, he probably bullied the crap out of the two kids. And I don't know how many kids they have, but bullying their kids. And so then he's running around bullying other people like, hey, effort, you know what I mean? And that's how dad is responding to his children. And also, the Mormon cult thing was relevant in that too, because there's a lot of, what over there. So if daddy be touching her, he's like, my dad kissed me on the lips. These women just turn that into something it's not. And they're just making a big deal out of something that's normal. So that would be like her, like totally taking it up the you-know-what and not getting therapy and then just sexually abusing everybody else because she thinks it's normal. It's that type of thing. But what she's technically doing right there, though, when she's doing that, is bullying women because they're women, well, anyone actually, because it's not just women, because men are actually coming out with these stories too, but that's her focus, though, women. So she's like, these people go too far, and they need to just let other people take advantage of them because we're not in positions of power. Mostly in situations like that is other people overpowering us. And even that term sexual bully is actually a correct term. I mean, it's like overpowering somebody, in a position of power where you can't really stop it. Like you're in a position where you can't do anything. Like if you're a kid or if you're knocked out or something like that. So, yeah. So what she's doing though was technically bullying. And it just sit with it though. It's crazy. Just go sit with it. I'm not talking about her political stance. She could go run with Trump and all that bullshit. It was just the framework of what she was saying. And then she was dismissing people's pain and the conduct, and saying they just want to be like a Girl Scout and get a badge and be part of a group. And I'm like, that's interesting. Isn't that what you're doing, sitting there with Megyn Kelly? Because you two are the rejects in the room, and you need to, converse somewhere. Because outside that, nobody's going to listen to your ass. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, do you need a mirror? You do? You do? Why do you feel really empowered bullying women? I just have a question. But again, at the same time, they are bullying men though too, because the men, when they're talking about women like that, the men that are trying to come forward on those topics, she's saying the same thing. You guys minimize it. You know what I mean? That's not a big deal. So then when their sons are complaining about something, they're just like, suck it up, son. Yeah. And then that, okay, it's horrible. But when you have that religious doctrine of the Mormon cult, and we have the ex-Mormon cult people here, or some of the ex-Mormons, or people that are still Mormons. I don't know. So you guys know what we're talking about. I didn't even know that was in their background. I absolutely did not. I was like, what? It just had this addition, and I go, oh, the bullying Mormon. The bullying, self-centered, entitled, white, rich, crappy ass family. So I was like, yeah, that's gross, man. No, to be honest, the guy that was speaking, like, he seemed like one of those guys that you just want to hug and just be like a Richard Simmons type. Like, Richard Simmons always had that energy about him where, like, who knows what the hell he did in his private life. But the energy, like, you just want to run up and hug him and ask him how he's doing. And you don't even want to say a bad word to him. Like, you don't want to make him cry because he'll cry over anything. And the guy that's speaking had that type of energy. Now, I don't know if he's a good guy or not. I'm just saying this is what is coming off, right? And sometimes that's manipulative, okay? But he seemed like one of those type of guys, like, where you're just like, oh, I don't even want to be mean to you. You're so sweet. So think about that. So I'm just talking about his characteristics. So that's what I pick up, right? So I'm picking up that. He's really nice. He's really sweet. He's a good soul. This is what I'm picking up. Doesn't mean he is, but I'm saying this is what I'm picking up. Jason is picking that up. Jason's mind is like, I'm going to destroy this thing. Isn't that crazy? That's the bullshit. That's the bullshit. So I was like, ew. Yeah, I went real deep with that. That guy that was talking about him probably didn't even think about it that deep. I'm like, you know what? You should think about it that deep, because it's really bad. I mean, you could actually start to see it with the sister and the brother. She's a bully. He's a bully. He likes to bully men. She likes to bully women. He probably bullies women too, because when he was talking on this one thing, he kind of trashed women. He's like, these hot women, like, he's degrading them like a body, like, in a way that I would not like that guy. And I was like, I never heard him talk. Yuck. Yeah, I don't know. You pulled it to my face, dude. That was, now I'm like, I'm never using my band name again. I'm never, because I think his dad's a piece of shit now. Like, the whole thing about it. I was like, ooh. And what if he touches kids? Because I'm sitting here questioning, mostly when someone's defending sexual assaults on people, usually it can mean that the parents did things and they normalize like what the parents did to them and see it as normal. Like, you're turning it into something else, because that's what their parents said, right? It's us loving you. Yeah. And then they're like getting sexually abused by their parents. And so I don't know. I mean, you could see it with those two. If he's running around bullying people and throwing things, he wants to be mean to someone that's really nice like that. Like that guy, I was saying, like, for me, if I knew that guy, he's the guy that I kind of want to like mess with a little bit, but not be mean to him, like, in a way, but I would just kind of, because he looks like, he sounds like he's a little conservative, and then he's like really nice, and he's like the type of guy that I would like want to say like some like obscene thing just to shock it, he's like, oh, what? Like that type of thing, that type of reaction, not like I want to hurt him and make him feel like a terrible human and throw crap at him. Okay, that's a line. I mean, I probably shouldn't even be doing what I'm doing, but I'm just saying that would be like my level of things. But then, yeah, so if I had a therapist, they probably question like, why do you want to do that? Because it's like he's all like he looks like he wouldn't watch an R-rated movie, and you like, wait, I don't know. He's gonna be like, what? Um, but that's the energy. I'm saying that's the energy. What I'm reading off of. But that's where they're reacting. It isn't like, oh, I know this guy came from a bad home and he needs, adult. You know what I mean? Like they try to say these things on the profiles, like, oh, they go prey on kids that, they have, bad home lives. I mean, everybody has a bad home life. Like that's kind of a hard thing to go off of because everyone has their problems in their home life. But what they're reading off of that energy, what I'm talking about right there. Like he's like, I never really say anything bad about any, but doing that thing. So they're reading off that. They're like, oh, he seems nice. He seems like somebody I can manipulate. You know what I mean? Like you like what you would think. What would you think of that guy? Like if you were a crafty, like you were criminal and you were wanting to plot like I don't know, some crime on him. Like you want to go steal his bank account, okay? Like, and you go and you're desperate, right? You're like, I'm looking for a victim. And then you go look at him and he's talking. He's like, yeah, I'm really nice. I would you. So wouldn't your mind be like, I could get this guy to, I could try to talk to this guy and just give me some shit. You know what I mean? Like, then they kind of size you up like that. So that's what they're looking at. I'm just saying. But that's crazy. No, they said he's a pompous asshole. They said one of the worst people they ever worked with was Jason. And then I started going down this rabbit hole and I go, that is, oh, and then they said he never changed. And I said, yeah, that's right. So there's no real such thing as I was a big bully in school and all of a sudden I'm a good angel today. That's a very rare thing. The only way that could happen is if somebody got really called out or they see that they're a piece of shit and they acknowledge they're a piece of shit. It would be hard for that to happen because they're usually a bunch of narcissists. You'll see Jason's a narcissist and he sees himself as like a great person and he's the best one in the room and that he would never need to fix himself on any which level, right? So they usually don't. And he thrives off of harming other people like that or treating other people like that. It isn't like, oh, they got into a tiff and they're fighting. Like there's actually a tail off. Like it isn't like, you know what? That dude stole my lunch one time. So I'm really pissed off at him every day of the week. You know what I mean? Like there's a thing to it. He's not like getting off on being mean to him like that, but he's like, I'm really pissed that you did something hurtful to me, dude. You know what I mean? Like it's not this interaction. It's him going, I feel good and powerful, taking advantage of people that I see as weaker than me. I feel that I'm better. So I got to make you feel worse. So I feel much higher up on a level. It's like this thing, but he's getting off on it. Oh my God, he was such a jerk in this interview they pulled up. I was like, what is that? You guys don't even call him out for it. You should tell him he needs to go to therapy. That he's like, I don't go to therapy. I don't know what the hell. Don't show me these crappy people. I was like, I'm really mad now. Because it has to be related to something that I do because I feel like people may have had really bad experiences with those people as that guy was talking about. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. And then every time I bring them up or, anything related to them, he may not even know the music part of that thing. But I was like, what if I bring that back up? And it's like, am I that shitty? No, I can be to somebody, but there would be a legit reason. It wouldn't be just at random that I'm walking by somebody and saying some crappy thing and throwing shit at them. That is, and nor would I be in an interview going on like that because I'm aware, like I have some awareness here. So, unless I really hated the interviewer and the interviewer they would have had to really offend me. And even then, I don't even think I would respond in a way. It depends. It depends on my mood that day. It depends how confident I'm feeling and in the mood I am and the energy I have. And, but I don't think I would be acting that pompous weird. Like, I don't know. It's just, bizarre. And some people were brushing it off. They're like, he's just an actor. He's just ad-libbing. I was like, no, he's not. And the other guy looked like he was getting really frustrated with the situation. I don't know. It just did not look great. And then there were stories to follow. Like people said, they're like, oh no, that guy, we don't like working with him. But again, he does the movies, and the public's like, we love him in movies. And they think that's, the real character. So then they give him passes, and it's like, oh, we should all suffer him because he does good movies. He makes us money. So everybody needs to suffer around him. Okay, he's a dick, but you need to suffer around him. I hope I'm not being like that. So, on set. Oh, no, I was never like that. But no, there was a lot of people like that. There really was. And so, there's just people that go, oh, we give them passes because I'm also a dick. So, you know what I mean? Like, we just have to do our thing. My name is Alec Baldwin. And, somebody ended up dying at the end of this, but we're just going to totally pass this story off. I'm innocent. Okay, yeah, as he admits, he's like, I bully all these women. You know what I mean? Oh, let me change the narrative. I love how he changes the narrative. This is them. They're just fakes. They're just frauds, okay? He's like, he does this interview. He's like, I bully all these women I met. I this, I that. I'm a hot mess. Yeah, okay. Okay, my kid's a pig. Whatever that crap was that he did. Then he had domestic violence in the early portion. Okay, I gotta change my face. I gotta make myself seem like a submissive man to my wife. And I'm like, this is just the dumbest crap I've ever seen. I don't know who buys it, just people that don't pay attention or just really hate women. Or, they just, oh, look, he could change. I was like, I know, none of that, none of that, none of that. He was chronically going off on people. He went off on everybody, though. It was all men and women. Like he was grabbing them. He's physically violent. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, this is not something that gets fixed overnight. It's not any of those things. And those are very difficult issues to work through. Like I said, the check and the cheeseburger. Yeah, that was really bad. So that took a while to work with though, you guys. That wasn't, it's not like, oh, I'm never doing that again. You know what I mean? Like there's inner work with that because it brought up some anger. So that's some anger problem. Not as bad as Justin Bieber. But there was an anger. I didn't even know it was there though. That was the thing. It was like somebody did something and it just triggered and then boom, and it was a reaction. It's just like a reaction. I was like, you're trying to do this to me with my evil grandma, It's like, and they're like, what the fuck? I was like, I don't even know what's going on here. Oh man. No, and I was very aware of it. And no, I did not like that. And I go, why did I feel that way? And then you have to work through that thing, which I didn't realize that it affected me like that. We didn't go throwing chairs and bashing up some women's faces. I mean, it's not that, but yeah, there was some expression. And yes, music did help because then you put all that anger in the music, and I got to yell and scream, and I was trained to do that. Even still, people are like, you talk too loud. I go, yeah, but I was trained to do that because they said you women were told to talk really low. You know what I mean? Like you're like this, and so it took. I loved my vocal coach. It's so sad. Every time I think about this, I go, why do you have to die young? Why are all these evil people alive? This person did nothing wrong to me. This person was like one of my, the person in my corner. And it's depressing. It's like the whole thing is depressing. And then they don't know what happened. They didn't know this backstory of these horrible people. And I just never told him, I didn't want to tell him because he knows all these people. And he was chronically like trying to save me from those, like, make sure that those bad things didn't happen. But they had already happened before I met him. I was already a kid. I was a kid when it happened. And then I meet him. It was the following year. And so he didn't even know that happened. I think I don't know what he would have done. I didn't tell him, So, but he didn't even question me being a kid going in there, That was the only fault in this story. But outside that, they were always like, I'm going to walk you to the car. I'm going to make sure that nobody does anything. And you don't do things that you don't need to do in the industry. Because he knew that it was going on. And I was like, oh, no, don't worry about it. We're not doing that. and and I was already just fighting this other dude off, so I was like, yeah. And he never really talked shit about anybody except for one person. He said was the worst singer ever. I think it was Vince Neil. I think that's what he said. I mean, I'm sorry, but I didn't say the truth of that. I think it was him. But he trained with Axel. I was like, I don't know. I was like, between the the little some of the oh man. I have to stay off of Instagram because it's like Instagram knows that some of these things are very targeted and people are making the craziest footage things on stuff and they're putting names and all this stuff. Like it's not even me doing it, you guys. I could easily jump in on that thing, but I was like, I can't. It's too much. Now it keeps showing me David Lee Roth and it's hilarious. I was like, oh, he's gonna come out here with a whip now instead of the little boy choo-choo train. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, this is too much. It's too much. He's like, I run with the devil. I was like, no. He's not as bad as people are saying. Like, it's a stage. I'm not seeing to the extent of what they're saying, but I could say with Dave. I could say with Dave. Me and Dave can have a talk. Dave, you were a victim when you were a kid. You're just not coming to terms with it. You can't connect with people. like what the fuck? All right. I was like, he's be cruising around and is like, I always imagine him because every time you read a story about him, it's always like, and he's like riding around with all like the rock stars out here. He's like picking them up off the side of the street, and he puts them in their vehicle. And the next thing you know, they're like all famous and stuff. And I'm just imagining him in this like white, I don't know what it is. I don't know if not a Rolls Royce. One of those cars, where they have like the big like horns coming out of the front, those bull horns, the things in the front, like it's all white and furry. And they're just like sitting in this thing. He's like, Vince, get in the back. And then a door falls on him. That was awful. I was like, the story about that with them was not, that is not good. That really is not good. I don't sing about love. I don't sing about love. I tell Vince to get in my car and we get drunk together. It's like, I'm curious what it would be like in a room with him talking. Who do you think will dominate the conversation, me or him? I think I will. I will talk over him. I think I will.